Hello everyone, and welcome to my Young and the Restless official 24 channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. One Phyllis twist that no one will see coming is this one. Not even her closest friends and family. The powerful people in Genoa City are surrounding the wagons to fight Ashby and his miraculous AI program because of Phyllis's relationship with Kane. Either they want to neutralize her useful hacking abilities or they want to protect her from herself. However, there is a major twist in the air on Young and Restless that none of them will anticipate coming, not even her own children would foresee this. Everything might have been just as it seemed at first. Aristotle Dumas presented Phyllis with an opportunity that no other person in Genoa City could match. A chance to show herself and be a part of something significant after Billy fired her from Abbott Communication. Phyllis Amanda. However, a subtle change occurred when Kane was revealed as Dumas in France, or more significantly, when Ashby told Phyllis about his evil great scheme. Red's look made it clear that she was more horrified by Kane's nefarious plan than she was seduced by it. Kane Phyllis.Y&R. Phyllis has seemed to be fully on Team Kane going forward, but if you've been paying careful attention, you've probably noticed indications that paint a different picture. Phyllis Kane. Phyllis has taken great care to come across as rah-rah Kane in all of her interactions, both with him and with other individuals. However, one thing in particular got our attention: the redhead has consistently pressed Ashby for additional details. More details regarding his strategy and the precise tasks he wants her to complete. Kane Phyllis. Unsurprisingly, she was able to piece the pieces together despite Kane keeping everything from her. She has been lurking, listening, and talking to people who are also trying to figure out her boss's scheme while maintaining the appearance of allegiance to him. Phyllis Kane. What are we trying to say? We originally conjectured about Phyllis's actual goals in July, and now we're going all out. Phyllis intends to win over all of the town's influential people by rescuing them from Kane. Why do we say that nobody will anticipate it? Michael and Nick believe she is up to her eyeballs in problems and will wind up in prison, while everyone else believes she is up to her usual foolish tactics by teaming up with Ashby. Heck, even her devoted children wouldn't have described her as an unpaid advocate for Genoa City. However, Phyllis's most recent chat just strengthened our suspicions. With her eyes looking into Nick's soul, Phyllis begged him to just trust her already as they closed their talk in the park. She was angry that he didn't believe in her. Phyllis. That was a clear indication to us that she thinks she's handling the matter. And it's possible that she will surprise everyone. One Phyllis twist that no one will see coming is this one: not even her closest friends, her lovers, or her children. Genoa City has always underestimated Phyllis Summers, seeing her as a troublemaker, a schemer, a woman who plays with fire until the flames burn her alive. But this time, what's unfolding is bigger than her usual cycle of redemption and ruin. The powerful people in town, Victor Newman, Jack Abbott, Michael Baldwin, Christine Williams, and even her own daughter, Summer Newman, are circling like hawks, all convinced they've figured Phyllis out. They believe she's in way too deep with Kane Ashby and his so-called miraculous AI program, a program that has already drawn the interest of corporations, criminals, and governments alike. To some, Phyllis is a weapon to be neutralized, her hacking skills too dangerous in the wrong hands. To others, she's a victim to be shielded from her worst instincts. But what nobody realizes, not Nick, not Summer, not even Daniel, is that Phyllis is playing the longest, most dangerous game of her life. And the twist about to hit Genoa City is so shocking that it will shake the foundation of her relationships forever. Because everything that looked like blind loyalty to Kane was something else entirely, something brilliantly masked under her fiery redhead persona, a covert mission to save Genoa City from Kane Ashby himself. At first, everything seemed straightforward. When Billy Abbott humiliated her by firing her from Abbott Communications, Phyllis was left vulnerable, adrift, searching for purpose and power. Then came Aristotle Dumas, or rather, the man she thought was Aristotle Dumas. A mysterious international figure with bottomless resources, Dumas dangled the kind of opportunity that Phyllis couldn't resist. It wasn't just money, it wasn't just prestige, it was the chance to prove herself after being dismissed as reckless and irrelevant. And when Cain revealed himself in France as the man behind the mask, the master pulling Dumas strings, Phyllis was shaken to her core. On the surface, she smiled, she flirted, she looked intrigued. But her eyes told another story. In that moment, Red wasn't dazzled. She was horrified. Cain's so-called innovation wasn't a gift to humanity, it was a weapon dressed up in pretty packaging, a tool for control, blackmail, and domination. And when Cain whispered the details of his grand scheme, something inside Phyllis snapped. She had danced with dangerous men before, Jeremy Stark, Tucker McCall, even Victor himself, but this was something else entirely. This wasn't about one family or one company. Cain's AI program had the power to rewire the future of the entire city, perhaps the entire world. And Phyllis, of all people, was suddenly positioned at the crossroads of destruction and salvation. Since that day in France, she has worn her mask flawlessly. To Cain, she has been the perfect partner, cheering him on, praising his brilliance, appearing as his unwavering ride or die. To the outside world, she looks like a woman falling into old patterns, aligning herself with the wrong man, dazzled by another scheme, ready to torch her life yet again. Even her closest allies have written her off. Nick shakes his head with disappointment. Summer rolls her eyes and whispers that her mother will never learn. Michael and Christine whisper warnings about indictments and prison sentences. And Jack Abbott, the man who has loved her through countless mistakes, is certain this time she's past saving. But what none of them know is that Phyllis has been gathering information behind the scenes, pressing Cain for details, keeping meticulous mental notes about his moves and his contacts. She has been asking the right questions, not because she's eager to participate, but because she's plotting the moment to tear his empire down from within. The clues have been there, subtle but unmistakable to anyone paying close attention. Every time Cain spoke vaguely, Phyllis pressed for specifics. Every time he bragged about control, she asked who, when, and how. Every time he gave her a task, she completed it flawlessly, but only after making sure she understood every layer of the puzzle. Piece by piece, she has been assembling the picture of his grand design, while secretly cross-checking Cain's plans with information she's overheard from others. In Crimson Lights, she has eavesdropped on hushed conversations. At Society, she's leaned in just a little too close when rival power players muttered about Cain's name. And at Newman Enterprises, she has found ways to charm tidbits of gossip out of people who don't even realize what they've confessed. With every scrap of intel, she has been building her own blueprint, one not of destruction, but of salvation. And here is the shocking truth, Phyllis intends to save Genoa City by turning the tables on Cain. Yes, the very woman everyone accuses of betrayal is preparing to be the town's unlikely hero. The irony is almost too delicious for her to resist. Michael believes she's destined for prison. Nick believes she's destined for heartbreak. Jack believes she's destined for self-destruction. But Phyllis has never wanted more than to prove them wrong, to force them to admit that she is smarter, stronger, and more valuable than they ever imagined. And now, for once, her greatest flaws, her cunning, her manipulation, her ability to deceive, are about to become her greatest weapons for good. This twist works because nobody will see it coming. Phyllis has spent decades being dismissed as selfish, impulsive, untrustworthy. Even her children, Daniel, who sees her as a chaos magnet, and Summer, who often feels more like the parent in their relationship, couldn't imagine their mother as a secret savior. They'll expect her to burn Cain's program for her own gain or to foolishly fall for his seduction. What they will never anticipate is that she has been working toward the exact opposite, protecting them, protecting the city, protecting everyone from the fallout Cain's AI promises. In one stroke, Phyllis will not only destroy Cain's scheme but also redefine herself in the eyes of Genoa City. The proof of this lies in her recent conversation with Nick. In Chancellor Park, her eyes locked with his as she practically begged him to trust her. "Just believe me," she whispered, her voice trembling with frustration. "Believe that I know what I'm doing." To Nick, it sounded like the usual desperation, the familiar refrain of a woman about to plunge off another cliff. But to the audience, it was something more, it was the crack in her armor, the moment when her true agenda almost slipped out. She wasn't asking for faith as a lost soul. She was asking for patience as a strategist. She was asking him to wait until the moment came when her real hand would be revealed. And when it does, the fallout will be seismic. Because here's the kicker, Phyllis isn't just out to stop Kane. She's out to use Kane's program against him, against all the powerful players who have underestimated her. She knows Kane's AI better than anyone, and in the final moment, she plans to flip the switch, not to unleash it as Kane intended, but to neutralize it, to lock it away so it can never be used again. Imagine the shockwaves, Kane undone by the very woman he thought he controlled. Victor Newman blindsided by the fact that Phyllis, not his empire, saved Genoa City. Jack Abbott forced to admit that his fiery ex-wife may be reckless, but she's also brilliant. And Daniel and Summer? They will see their mother not as the disaster they fear, but as the hero they never dreamed she could be. That's the beauty of this twist. Everyone believes they have Phyllis figured out. Everyone is certain she's doomed to fail. But this time, the woman who has stumbled so many times before is about to rise higher than anyone expected. It's not redemption in the traditional sense. Phyllis will still lie, manipulate, and break rules to get where she needs to go. But in the end, her actions will save the very people who doubted her, and the satisfaction of their stunned faces will be her ultimate reward. So when the dust settles, when Kane Ashby's empire crumbles, and when the citizens of Genoa City look around for the person who stopped the storm before it hit, they won't be looking at Victor, Jack, or even Nick. They'll be looking at Phyllis Summers, the unpredictable redhead who, for once, played the game better than anyone else. And that, dear readers, is the twist no one saw coming. The most fascinating part of this Phyllis storyline is that it doesn't unfold in black and white, it's painted in shades of gray that will make even the audience question her motives. Phyllis Summers has always lived in that murky middle ground between hero and villain, and that's what makes this twist so compelling. On the surface, she's aligning herself with Kane Ashby, a man whose AI program is dangerous enough to draw the attention of billionaires, tech moguls, and crime syndicates. But beneath that facade, she's piecing together a plan that not even Victor Newman could execute. What makes it even more riveting is that Phyllis is not doing this out of selflessness alone. This isn't a total redemption arc. Yes, she wants to protect her children, her city, even her old rivals, but she also wants something much more intoxicating, to finally be taken seriously. For years, people have called her impulsive, destructive, a perpetual train wreck. But if she can pull this off, she won't just save Genoa City, she'll cement her place as one of its true power players. The turning point came the night Kane revealed the full depth of his intentions. They were in a dimly lit villa in France, and Kane, believing Phyllis was completely under his sway, laid out the scope of his vision. His AI program wasn't just about controlling stock markets or exposing secrets. It was about influence. It was about predicting human behavior so precisely that governments, corporations, even entire families could be manipulated into submission. He painted a picture of a future where no decision was made without his algorithm predicting it first. To most, that would sound like science fiction. To Phyllis, it sounded like the single greatest threat she had ever faced. Her stomach turned, her pulse quickened, but she didn't let him see it. Instead, she tilted her head, smiled that dangerous smile of hers, and said, "Impressive." Inside, though, she knew, she couldn't let this stand. From that moment, Phyllis began her double life. With Kane, she was the supportive partner. She played the role of seductress, confidant, and co-conspirator. She let him believe she was dazzled by his brilliance, that she was finally his loyal ally. With everyone else, she let them believe she was spiraling, her old pattern of self-sabotage repeating once again. Summer and Daniel whispered about their mother's recklessness. Nick scolded her for trusting the wrong man. Jack shook his head in quiet disappointment, certain she was lost. And Phyllis let them all believe it. Because the deeper they thought she was entangled with Kane, the less they would suspect her real agenda. What makes this twist so delicious is the way Phyllis has weaponized her reputation. Everyone thinks they know her. They think she's impulsive, reckless, and blinded by whatever man has her attention at the moment. They expect her to fall into Kane's bed, to hitch herself to his schemes, to destroy herself in the process. And because they're so certain of that, they're not watching closely enough. They're not seeing the subtle way she nudges Kane into revealing more than he intends. They're not noticing the breadcrumbs she's leaving behind for herself to follow. They're not catching the look in her eyes when Kane boasts too loudly, the quick flicker of disgust before she masks it with a smirk. Meanwhile, Kane himself is so intoxicated by the illusion of Phyllis's loyalty that he doesn't recognize the danger right in front of him. He believes he has her wrapped around his finger. He thinks she's another pawn in his game, another accomplice blinded by the promise of wealth and power. What he doesn't realize is that Phyllis is cataloging every word, every move, every vulnerability. She knows his program better than anyone. She knows the servers it runs on, the backdoors he uses to manipulate it, the weaknesses he hasn't accounted for. And she's already formulating the moment to strike. But Phyllis's plan isn't just about Kane, it's about everyone else too. She's positioning herself as the one person who can save the city, but she's also calculating what that salvation will cost. Because when the truth comes out, when she exposes Kane and neutralizes his AI, it won't just be about stopping a villain. It will be about rewriting her story. She'll force Victor Newman to admit that he underestimated her. She'll force Jack Abbott to see that she's more than a mistake-prone ex. She'll force her children to acknowledge that their mother is capable of greatness. And she'll relish every shocked expression, every reluctant nod of respect. One of the most heartbreaking aspects of this twist is the toll it takes on her relationships in the meantime. Summer, in particular, is devastated by what she perceives as her mother's latest downfall. She confides in Kyle that she's tired of cleaning up Phyllis's messes, tired of watching her mother chase after dangerous men. Daniel, meanwhile, avoids her altogether, certain she's heading toward prison or worse. Even Nick, the man who knows her better than almost anyone, can't bring himself to believe she's making smart choices. When she looked into his eyes in Chancellor Park and begged him to trust her, it wasn't just a plea for faith, it was a plea for patience. But Nick, wounded by years of broken trust, couldn't give it to her. That rejection cut Phyllis deeply, even as she told herself she had to stay the course. The stakes rise when Victor Newman gets involved. Victor has his own reasons for wanting Kane's AI dismantled, but he doesn't trust Phyllis as the person to do it. In fact, he sees her as a liability, a wild card who could jeopardize everything. He begins maneuvering to take the program for himself, to fold it into Newman Enterprises. Phyllis, ever perceptive, realizes this and knows she must act fast. If she doesn't stop Kane soon, Victor will, and if Victor gains control of the AI, it could be just as catastrophic. She finds herself caught between two titans, Kane, who thinks she's his ally, and Victor, who thinks she's his obstacle. And somehow, she must outwit them both. What makes this storyline truly unpredictable is the moment of revelation that's coming. Imagine it, Kane prepares to launch his AI, ready to demonstrate its power to the world. The room is filled with influential players, Victor, Jack, Michael, Christine, maybe even Adam lurking in the shadows. Everyone is on edge, waiting for Kane's miracle to unfold. And then, at the crucial moment, the system collapses. Not because of a flaw, not because of sabotage by a rival, but because Phyllis Summers rewired it herself. She steps out of the shadows, triumphant, and reveals that she has been playing Kane all along. The gasp that will ripple through the room will be priceless. For Kane, the betrayal will be devastating. He thought he had found in Phyllis a partner, a confidant, someone as ruthless and ambitious as himself. To realize that she was orchestrating his downfall from the start will be a humiliation he may never recover from. For the rest of Genoa City, the shock will be equal parts admiration and disbelief. Victor will be furious that he was outmaneuvered. Jack will be stunned that the woman he doubted most just saved them all. Nick will be forced to admit he should have trusted her. And Summer and Daniel, perhaps for the first time in their lives, will see their mother as a protector, not a liability. The aftermath will be equally compelling. Phyllis won't walk away unscathed. her deception will have consequences. Some will still accuse her of recklessness, others will question her motives, and Cain won't go down quietly. He'll come after her with everything he has, determined to make her pay. But Phyllis will stand taller than she ever has before, fueled by the knowledge that, for once, she wasn't just the town's problem, she was its salvation. And that, ultimately, is why this twist is so powerful. It's not just about Phyllis defeating Cain. It's about Phyllis rewriting her legacy. It's about her children seeing her through new eyes. It's about Victor Newman realizing she's not to be dismissed. It's about Jack Abbott realizing that his fiery redhead is capable of brilliance as well as chaos. It's about a woman who has spent her entire life being underestimated finally proving that she's not just a player in Genoa City's games, she's the one who can change the rules entirely.